All right, guys, so we got to talk about a fascinating story that is going viral that also has a very interesting plot twist. And this story revolves around an accusation that a professor at Georgia State University called the police on two black students after they refused to leave class after being told to leave because they were 2 minutes late. Okay, now this story came out to the public. It went viral because one of the students in class went on TikTok and told a story about what happened and expressed frustration with the fact that this professor weaponized the police against two black students. Okay, so I want to talk about this because this professor is now being accused of being racist towards these black students because she weaponized the police against them. But before I get in that, I just want to let you guys know, if you like my channel, you want to support my channel, you can do so using the links in the description below. You can support the Patreon, you can support the PayPal, you can support the merch. There are multiple ways to support the channel if you would like to do so, including getting yourself one of my Everything Woke Turns to Ish t-shirts, which I've been wearing a lot lately, so much so that I can't even wear it in this video because it's not that clean. But I get a whole lot of attention when I wear that shirt, whether I'm at the airport. In fact, last night I was at Walmart and one lady who happened to be black asked me about the shirt and said, what is on my shirt? And I said, Everything Woke Turns to Ish. And she said that she was offended. And I said, good. That means the shirt is doing its job. So if you want some attention or if you want to offend people out in public, I highly recommend getting one of those shirts. So without further ado, let's go ahead and play the TikTok of this individual who has spilled the beans on this professor who called the police on two black students because they were late to class. Take a look.
Two black students had the police called on them today at Georgia State's perimeter campus in Newton County for being 2 minutes late to class. You heard me correctly, 2 minutes late to class, and they had the police called on them. When the professor then asked them to leave, Taylor responded and said, "We paid to be here." The professor, Carissa Gray, then responded, "Okay," and left the room. When she returned with two armed police officers. The woman cop, whose name I do not know, proceeded to grab Taylor's things and try to forcibly remove them from the room. They then said that if they did not leave, they would be charged with trespassing. The students arrived to the classroom. The door was wide open. They were allowed to enter, walk all the way to their seats, sit down, and proceed to take out their things to take notes. The woman police officer proceeded to hold on to Taylor's things until Taylor agreed to leave. She then went down to the advisement center to figure out who it was that she could talk to file a report. She was directed to go to the department head of Professor Mason, then told Taylor that her only two options were to either stay in an environment that she didn't feel safe in or take an F. When we went across the street to the other building to file a complaint with the student life department, we were then informed that this was not the first time that the police had been called on a student for something irrational. Taylor also disclosed that she felt as though this action taken by Professor Carissa Gray was in retaliation to an earlier event that happened earlier on in the semester. Time and time again, we've seen the police being weaponized against black people. Calling the police on two students for being 2 minutes late to class is extremely unreasonable and dangerous. Both of the students, a woman and a man, started crying because they were so terrified of what could happen to them. Please share this video. I'm trying to spread this story so that people can know what's going on. Stuff like this cannot keep happening to black youth in America. Stop weaponizing the police against black people.
All right, guys. So first and foremost, my initial comments have nothing to do with the story whatsoever, right? As much as it has to do with the fact that, you know, if you're going to go on the internet and post something, right? Especially if you want people to listen to what you're saying, because I had a really hard time listening. And I had to listen to that a lot because I was very distracted by the fact that this person did not have a bra on, okay? I don't know what's up with woke, progressive, woke revolutionaries, specifically females, women. Put on a bra, okay? I'm sorry. Please cover it up, right? Please, okay? Especially if, you know, gravity is taking a toll on your assets, okay? Please cover it up. Okay, I'm just keeping it 100. I had to listen a lot, okay, multiple times, okay, more than I usually do because I was distracted, okay. So that being said, let's actually get into the story here, which I find to be very, very, very suspect because it has an interesting plot twist we're going to get into. But first, I want to read the reviews for Miss Carissa Gray, who is a professor in the English department at Georgia State University, okay? Because this professor is now getting flamed as a racist for this incident. So let's read here her reviews. This professor is not an equal opportunity professor. Even when you pay for your own education, she feels she has the right to dictate if she will teach you. She does not deserve to be a professor for higher learning. She's unprofessional and clearly bigoted towards students of color. Don't ever take this woman's class. Furthermore, complaints should be filed with the department heard and Board of Education to have her removed from teaching. Racist psycho. She's an awful person. Ridiculous and racist. Irrational, unhappy, a very bitter and vile human being. Calls police on black students for being in a place they paid to be. Unfair. Tom Nazi, who will call police on black students. Ugh, terrible. Carissa calls the cops on black students who are 2 minutes late to class. Twitter. She calls the cops on 2 black people for only being 2 minutes late to class. She's racist and should be fired from her job. She needs to be fired. Horrible person. My God, she goes around randomly calling cops on black students. She needs to be fired. As a young white woman, I need better role models. Yuck, bro. This is hilarious. Okay, so as you can see here, you have people flaming this woman. Okay, flaming this woman as a racist. Okay, because of this story, right? But the plot twist here is that this college professor happens to be black. According to NBC News, to put it that way, right? I couldn't find a picture of her, but apparently this college professor is not a white man, not a white woman, okay? Not white, they're black, right? So apparently this black professor is a Nazi, right? And is racist, okay, for calling the police on 2 black students. And I find it fascinating, very, very fascinating, how the person that originally told this story, that all these news outlets had picked up on, conveniently left out the fact that the professor was black that called the police, okay, while also accusing, or low-key accusing, the professor of racism, right? Racism. Again, Georgia State University is a historically black college. So the 2 students involved were black. The professor's black, allegedly. I guarantee the police that were involved too were black. And probably the administrators that they were going to were black. So somebody tell me, where is the racism here? Because if you're going to go down the racism route, then, hey, you know, we're setting the precedent that, in fact, black people can be racist against each other, which I find to be true, right? I think that is true, but that's not usually the story that's told from the woke revolutionaries, right? They don't talk about how blacks can be racist against each other. In fact, they say that black people can't be racist. They're incapable of being racist because black people don't have power. The only people who can be racist are white people because white people have all the power. So if you want to go down this rabbit hole, good, right? I'm glad you're admitting that black people, in fact, can be racist. That racism is not just an attribute assigned to white people and white people only. I'm glad you're admitting that. And I think that that's a fact that was conveniently left out, that the world should know when you're telling a story like that, that the professor was, in fact, black, especially if you're going to play the race card, right? Why did you not mention that the professor was black? Okay. So that being said, because that fact was left out, I have more questions about what other facts was left out, because I was in college at one point. Okay, so I kind of have a little bit of an understanding of this stuff. And, you know, there are professors that have certain standards. There are professors that are very lenient. They don't really give a damn about whether you even come to class or not, whether you're late. They don't really care. Okay, as long as you show up, you take your test, you do what you need to do. Hey, it is what it is. But there are some professors that do care about people being on time. Okay, they care about people coming to class. That is a part of your grade. And as a student, you have to understand what each professor cares about and what they don't, and adjust your behavior accordingly, right? That's just a fact of life. There are rules and regulations that you must abide by in society, okay? We know the wokes don't want to do that, but unfortunately, you got to do that, right? And I think that there are some facts that are probably being left out of this, because it does sound very petty to call the police on 2 students because they were 2 minutes late to class. However, if the teacher in the past has been very, very, very stern about how she doesn't like people being tardy, or these two students are always routinely late, okay, and their lateness disrupts the classroom, it disrupts the learning process, then, I can kind of understand why this professor would say, hey, you know what, I'm going to call the police and escort you out because I asked you to leave and you didn't leave. And especially if these students had a history, again, of being late, okay? We don't really know all the details here. And that person in the TikTok even implied that there was some history because they're saying it was retaliation for an incident that had happened earlier this year, which means that there's some history. I guarantee you there's history of those two students being late. I guarantee you that professor has probably talked to them about being late and they just don't give a damn, right? Or it could be a day where they're having a test, okay? They walk in 2 minutes late. People are testing, okay? You need complete peace and quiet so people can concentrate, and them coming in late disrupts the learning process, right? There are multiple details and facts that I feel could explain why this professor felt the need to call the police in this situation that I think are being left out, just like the fact that the professor is black is being left out. If the story is even true, because according to NBC News, there was no comment from the professor. There's no comment from the two students who were involved. There's no comment from the TikToker who posted this stuff. There's no comments at all. And Georgia State University says they're looking into the situation. Now, apparently, the way the situation was resolved is that when the police got there, they de-escalated the situation between the student and the professor. Okay, and there was clearly no crime had been committed, and there were no arrests. Okay, so hey, that's allegedly what happened. But I find it hilarious how everybody just assumed that the professor was white, a Nazi, because you don't usually hear the accusations of racism or Nazi, right, when it's a black person, right? You don't really hear that. Okay, but again, everybody just assumes the professor was white, and it's a historically black college and university. I guarantee you, just like that incident that happened with the Black Panther director at the bank when they called the police on him, okay, for being sketchy, right? Walking in there looking like a robber, okay, doing things that robbers do. I guarantee you, most people that were involved were black, right? They were black. But for that reason, they're still going to play the race card here and try to act like, well, this was motivated by racism, that, people just, calling the police on black people because that's just what people do, right? And that, I guarantee you, is not the case here. I guarantee you there's more to this story. I guarantee you there's some history here. I guarantee you that this professor just didn't do this on a whim and out of nowhere. It's not, I don't think it's a random thing. So, with that being said, again, I find the plot twist in this story to be absolutely hilarious, but there'll probably be more details that really clarify what actually happened in this situation, because I don't believe this woke revolutionary told the whole story here. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a black conservative perspective. Peace.